We have another one. It says, when is the army recruitment form coming out? I'm eager to serve my fatherland, from Ifine Simon. Is that how we answer that one?
Well, the issue of army form is not hidden. Once the application is thrown open, you will see it on various platforms across the various media in the country.
All right.
So you just keep looking out for it.
Okay. And Bulus from Suleja is asking, how many months is the depot training to join the army?
6 months.
Okay. All right. And Yakubu Nampang, aka Legend, is saying a prayer for the Nigerian army. He says, God protects the Nigerian army. That's his own prayer for the Nigerian army. So we'll say amen. Okay, thank you for your SMS messages. Keep them coming. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the rest of the program. Come back. The program is still DDMO Updates on 107.7 FM, the alternative voice of the Nigerian military. You, the listener, can join us by calling the numbers 0802-600-7418 or 806-396-3643, or follow us via live stream. That is facebook.com Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM. We still have the coordinator of Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, and the Navy liaison of the Department, Commander Abdusalam Sani. Time for the business of the day. Our very first question this week is, can the listener know more about Operation Long Reach and the area of responsibility?
Yes, Operation Long Reach is an air offensive, air interdiction, using our fighter aircrafts and helicopter gunships in the North East. And of course, you know the operation in the North East covers Adamawa, Yobe, and then Borno states. So it is an operation under the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Adole. So that is where it is in the northeast of the country, particularly under Operation Lafia Adole.
Okay, sir. And this one, the question here is, the Defense Headquarters denied allegations of leaders of Tiv people in Taraba State under the aegis of Tiv Cultural and Social Association, accusing the military of some heinous crimes against their women and daughters. Has there been an investigation to that effect, and what's the position of the military on this allegation?
Let me start from the position of the military. Okay. It's a frivolous, mischievous, unfounded allegation. And that has been proved after our on-the-spot investigation and detailed investigation. Okay. It's just an allegation to smear our achievements in that area. That is just that. So there is nothing, no complaint that is not investigated in the military. It's our best practice, and it's an international standard. And the Nigerian Armed Forces is not left out of that. Once there's such a thing, we go down to the level, to the grassroots, to the location, and that is it. So it was investigated and it's unfounded.
All right, sir. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name, where are you calling from?
This is Emmy the bike man from Maraba.
All right, Emmy the bike man from Maraba. Go ahead, please, with your question or
Thank
comments.
you. Regard to the studio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike the bike man.
What I want to ask, hello?
Go ahead, Emmy.
You said the people that repented, they swear the allegiance to the Nigerian. Then they are not going to come of do the act again, and the broker, they have been captured them. And I want to ask, those people that do allegiance, are they all Nigerians? Because what I asked you, we are all Nigerians, because there's that person said, they look at all this thing that did all this thing. There's not some foreigners among them, so that's what I'm asking. Are they all Nigerians? Or the foreigners you will capture, you send them back to their country? Okay. And the second one, I want to ask, we going about on the internet about the naval officer complaining about what is happening. So I want to ask, what is the relationship between the Ogas and the young ones, the naval and the rest of them? How are you going to treat them? Because the complaints that they have been complaining, they don't want to respond. So the thing is on end everywhere. And most of them are saying that it's really how acting authorities behave to their junior ones. So I'm asking, how are you going to do so that this kind of thing will not be happening again? That's what I'm asking for. You get my question?
Yes, very well, Emmy. Thank you for your questions. Thank you, Emmy the bike man.
Okay, the first one he asked was about
the repentant insurgents. It's asking if there are foreigners among them. If there are
Yes.
foreigners, do we send them back
Yes,
to their
let
country?
us go straight forward.
Yes.
For those that surrendered, it is based on people that surrendered. Those that surrendered and were profiled, we have foreigners amongst them. We have Cameroon, we have from
Niger.
Chad, and then Niger. So, and once we do that, just like the first one we did, we sent 2 back to Chad. The same thing will apply to these ones. Those that are foreigners will be sent back to their countries. The countries, we are in touch with them, they will arrange, and then they will settle them accordingly.
Okay.
Then the second one,
Yes, sir. The viral
about
video.
the viral video. You see, it's not good to pass media judgment, and that is why we came out and said that investigation is ongoing. So we want the public to be patient until the outcome of the investigation, which commenced immediately. I think it was yesterday that I did that press release. So be patient, because in an issue like this, you need to find out whether the young man also was saying the truth, whether he's in his normal senses, and if he is, then it needs to be proved, and what he's saying, because it's not easy. The gap between the two of them is so wide. Most times we take our younger ones are like our children. So that is it is like that in the military. There is esprit de corps. The esprit de corps goes across ranks, goes down to the level of the young soldier, the young airman, the young seaman that comes into service that day. So it is to be patient. If we start talking like it's like placing the cat before the horse.
Okay.
So let the people be patient until the Nigerian Navy concludes the investigation. Then they will tell us, they will come out at that point to tell the general public the outcome, and there you can make your judgment.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And remember, you can still join us, 0802 600 7418, 0802 600 7418, or 0806 396 3643, 0806 396 3643. If you can't reach us, you can send us an SMS. Moving on, the military will usually say it's guided by rules of engagement when it carries out its operations. What are some of these rules, if it can be shared, maybe to further clear the air on the aim of Operation Safe Haven?
Yes, we talk about rules of engagement. That is the guiding principle. For every operation, for every area, when we say we have the enemies of the country, the enemies of the public, for instance, an armed robber is an enemy of the public. When he's armed and he wants to collect your item, rob you, and you don't, so he will kill you. Some they don't even take people's lives. You talk about bandits, armed bandits, they are enemies. Then you talk about insurgents and terrorists. Now, the way as a military man, let me use the common parlance, as a soldier, that you engage these people either in combat or non-kinetic, they are all different for different operations and different areas, for different categories of the enemy. Like an enemy may not be armed. So somebody who is not armed, you don't engage him with a weapon.
Okay.
Let me use the language or the way we will understand it. Somebody that is not carrying a gun to shoot or wants to steal, you cannot say you shouldn't bring that person down. You should not counter that person with a gun. That is what is called rules of engagement.
Okay.
So the rule of engaging a bandit will be slightly different from the way you engage a terrorist. A terrorist may be coming, charged up with explosives. So that one, the rule of engagement, for instance, in the northeast is different from the rule of engagement in the northwest. Because in the northwest now, the characteristics of the enemy there is not the same with the characteristics of the enemy in the northwest. In the northwest, for instance, people that have PBIED, person-borne explosive improvised explosive device, when they are coming, their aim is to come into the midst of people and then detonate. So the rule of engagement will be stop, stop, stop. When the person refuses to stop, of course, you know that he has an ulterior motive, and then the person will be taken out. But such does not exist in the northwest or in the southwest. Wherever, where you have people that are, vandalizing petroleum pipeline, for instance, you tell them stop, sometimes they will run away. So that is why these rules are stipulated and given to the fighting forces for different zones as it is now, or different operations and different categories of enemies. That is the rule of engagement we talk about. So the rule of engaging the enemy in the northeast is not the same with the rule of engaging the enemy of the north central or in the northwest. So for Operation Safe Corridor, Operation Safe Haven, like you say, they have their own rules of engagement. Most times we even produce them like cats and then give it to the soldiers or the men. Go to the front. We read it to them every morning. It gets into their skull, gets into their memory, and then they have it as documents.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that clarification. It's still DDMO updates. You can still join us and be part of the program by calling us up on 0802 600 7418, 0802 600 7418, or 0806 396 3643, 0803 63963643. And remember, we are live streaming via facebook.com Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM. Yes, we are looking at, before we take the next question, let's take this call. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Peter. All right, sir, go ahead with your question or comment.
Last week, Tuesday, it last from another road.
Okay. Okay, that's your question, Mr. Peter.
Yes.
All right, thank you for calling.
So what is
What's the military doing as regards the kidnappers and bandits along Lokoja Abuja Road? And he was saying last week there was some kidnap incidences along that route.
Okay.
So please we'll add it to this one. Let's take this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name, please, where you're calling from?
My name is Musa. Is calling from Jabi.
Okay, Musa from Jabi. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, from Jabi. Yeah, good afternoon. Yes.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah, well, my question is that I see in the army from last year, last 5 years, but what happened is that we calling of this COVID-19 issue. So they now tell us that the ongoing recruitment is not going to take on again until the coronavirus. So that's why I call and ask if there's anything, maybe we have to be short until the coronavirus has finished, or maybe it's going to take on. So that's why I said let me call and ask.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think they've already given me an answer, but
well, like I said earlier on, for whatever reason that it was suspended temporarily, like that of the Navy among others, that we even publicize, the same thing will be given the publicity once we resume for the 3 services. Now, for the issue of the kidnap,
yes,
you will recall that in very recent times we have rescued in Kogi State, we rescued in Kaduna State, we rescued in Plateau State, among others. Even in the Northwest, severally, almost on daily basis. So the same effort we are putting in other places is the same effort that we are putting in along Kene Road, where you just mentioned. And as I speak to you, like the captain that was killed, yes, the wife and the mother, they were rescued. They came out. It's not all the details that we may have time to tell you, or the opportunity will present itself. But we don't just sit down on our horse. As usual, once it happens, there are machinery structures that will be put in place for that particular purpose. And I tell you, the structure is actually in place within the operation, where we have the state service, the Nigerian police, civil security, and all of them, even with the locals. They will provide information, and then at that level they will now begin to comb all the nooks and crannies, and then with information from particularly farmers and people that have farms or whatever in the forest or the outskirts of the localities there, we get result, and we hope that we will continue to be on this and be rescuing people as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question here is looking at subsidiary Operation Calm Waters and Operation Swift Response. Our operations under Operation Delta Safe. What were these operations established for? We're asking from Masari.
Okay, thank you very much. Operation Calm Waters and Operation Swift Response are subsidiary naval operations under Operation Delta Safe, being conducted jointly with the Nigerian Customs Service Strike Force team. It is against anti-smuggling activities, especially from the south-south region of the country.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. And as we move on, similarly, troops of Operation Safe Haven, Thunder Strike, Wellstroke, and Gamma Ike conducted several raids. conducted several raids and ambushes at previous another stop. And these operations also subsidiary operations or stand-alone operations. Sorry if you had the technical issues there. I sincerely apologize. So, yes, sir.
Well, I'm happy that we now have a very enlightened public, and it's instructive to let them know what we are doing. Now we have been able to differentiate between stand-alone or subsidiary.
Yes.
Operation Safe Haven is, I think, about the longest. Like you say it, you follow your own terminology. Stand-alone. All the other ones are subsidiary, and as the word implies, simply sub. Okay. Anything that is sub is under a main. So, but I think what should interest you is that why do we even come up with subsidiary operations?
Yes.
When there is a slight change in the way and manner you do things here, let me use the normal language that we will understand. When we say strategy, sometimes you take it so big, the planning, the approach, the way and means to achieve your end state, then it will now be crafted as a subsidiary. That's the main operation is still there, but another one is happening. Okay. And you know that most of these security challenges are fluid, they are dynamic. When they change, you also adopt measures, and in these measures you now make it peculiar, so that it stands out. So that is what the major difference between the standing operation, as you call them, or the main operations, and then the subsidiaries. The subsidiaries are still part of the main operations in whatever theater of operations that they are being conducted.
All right. So quickly, as a follow-up before we go on break, when the subsidiary operations elapse, do they end and the main operations continue?
Of course, there is no operation that ends.
Okay.
It's like chameleon. It changes from one form to the other.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
There's no operation that really ends. It will only end if criminality ends in this country.
All right, you heard that. So know that the military is always working to ensure that we are safe and secure. We'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue the rest of the program. Those of you calling, just please hold on or send your messages. When we come back, we'll take your calls. Just stay tuned. We'll be right back. I want to break my leg.
You just tuned in. This is 107.7 FM on Versus Radio, right here in the heart of Abuja.
Thank you for being there. Thank you for being a part of the program. DDMO update today, the 16th of July, 2020. It's great to know you're part of the program. Remember, you can join us in the conversation by calling the numbers 0802 600 7418 or 0806 396 0806 396 or sending your messages. So we move on to Sahel Sanity. Troops of Sahel Sanity responded to a distress call of the invasion of armed bandits in near Gamji town in Batsari local government area of Katsina State last week and neutralized the bandits. Currently, the troops are in exploitation phase. What does that mean?
Well, what exploitation means is like carrying broom and sweeping the area. You can call it that way.
Okay.
Just to sweep after you have an encounter, you now comb the area, you sweep it, so that any remnants of the enemy in the whole of that vicinity can still be taken out. That is exploitation. Then you count the casualties on both sides. Okay. If you have, what is your casualty? Both in men and equipment. But more importantly, the exploitation is focused on your enemy. So that is what is on. And exploitation, particularly in a place like the Northwest, could take as long as 1 week because you have to exploit into the forest. There's a limit of exploitation that will be given by the commander. Maybe 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers of radius of that particular spot.
So it's clearing,
it's clearing,
sweeping.
Just clearing and sweeping.
Okay.
That's exploitation.
All right. And the air component of Operation Hadarindaji takes out another camp and neutralizes cause of armed bandits at Kwambana Forest in Zamfara State. What really is behind these successes? If yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. That successful operation was conducted on the 10th of July last week, and it was done after a credible human intelligence report and a series of air reconnaissance missions conducted by the Air Component of Operation Enenche. So these are the two major successes that we got. The Human Intelligence Report that was used and the reconnaissance missions conducted by the Air Component of Operation Enenche. And that is why we keep on asking for credible intelligence from the local populace, so that will help to give us edge over the enemies.
Right, thank you, sir. Sir, as we begin to wind down, despite the aggressive clearance operation by troops of Operation Wild Stroke, why does it seem that the issue of banditry, kidnapping, and other untoward activities is still happening in Taraba State?
Let us put it like this: criminality.
Okay, the criminality.
The criminality in that area, it has a remote cause,
okay,
of which is not secret to the Nigerian public, and particularly people from that area, particularly between Taraba and Benue states. There is an underlying factor of ethnicity.
Sir, can you hold it for 1 second? Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, this is the Backman. Good afternoon once again. I want to ask again, the operation that is happening in the Northeast. I want to know which one covers Katsina. But the way parties are terrorizing those places, I want to know what all this one, all this Latvia and Dola and the rest of them. Do you cover all those Katsina and the rest of them? And the Southern Katsina and all these two happening? Do you have anyone that cover all those places? Are they still on their own?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily Backman. He wants to know the operation that covers Southern Katsina and Katsina. So I think it's in line with what we're answering. Yeah.
Okay, look, we have the operational activities covering the whole of that area you're talking about. We have Operation Wild Stroke, we have Thunder Strike,
okay,
we have Hadar in Daji, and then we have Operation Accord, which was coordinated amongst all of them that covers the whole of that area. Then we have Operation Safe Haven that covers part of Kaduna State also.
okay.
So they are fully covered. There is none that is left out.
All right, sir. So, sir, back to Taraba State. You said there were some
Yes,
remote
Taraba
causes.
is a remote causes.
Yeah.
So, and then criminality, it's a mix of an issue. We have this ethnic problem between the thieves and then the Jukuns, yeah, which has lasted even beyond this administration, and it has been transiting from one form to the other. So at a point, or at some point, it discovers that there is a meeting point, and you hardly be able to differentiate. So that is why we now call it criminality. So it may not be all banditry in isolation, it may not be all herdsmen attack in isolation, and it may not be kidnapping alone in isolation. They are interwoven. But what we have done is that we are applying a non-kinetic approach. Of course, you are all aware that at various times they have called peace meetings between the various state governments, with the military also being part of it, trying to appeal with other stakeholders, opinion leaders, even religious leaders. That is the situation in that place, where it appears as if the thing is not simmering down. But as long as we put these two together, the kinetic and non-kinetic, that is looking for the criminals and getting them out of their hideouts and all that we have been doing in the recent past, you see that we have been knocking out, eliminating 2, 3, 1 like that. And by that approach, we are now handling the kinetics. And then the non-kinetics, I tell you that the state governments, they are on top of the situation in that regard, with the traditional rulers and then the religious leaders. Sooner than later, we hope that we'll come to a meeting point whereby the security situation in that place we reduce to meet the expected desires of the populace.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As we wind down, I'll take your final thoughts. Kamala-san.
Okay, thank you very much. Continue to keep a date with us. Keep listening and stay safe.
Right. And sir, Major General John Enenche, your final thoughts on the program.
Yes, my final thoughts, and at the same time what I will appeal is that in recent past, from my analysis in the last 1 month, we have enjoyed the cooperation of the general public greatly in the area of providing us with credible information that has really enhanced our operations. I want to continue to appeal for that, because security is everybody's business.
Yes.
All of us in this country, we have our security in our hands. Everybody needs to play their part. All sectors need to play their part. So I want to encourage our general public, Nigerians, to come out. We have very good measures put in place to protect our sources. Nobody comes to mention your name. Nobody gives your position away, and with that, I tell you that we will have a very good system of curtailing and containing the security situation in this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And with those words, we've come to the end of this week's edition of DDMO Updates. And before we go, I must say thank you so much to Major General John Enenche, the Coordinator of Defense Media Operations, for coming this afternoon, and also to Navy Commander Absalam Sani, who is the Navy Liaison of the Defense Media Operations Department. Thank you so much, sir, for coming this afternoon. And not forgetting the Executive Director, Armed Forces Radio, Colonel K.O. Ogunsoya, and my live streamer, Omobs. I'm Jacqueline Rose saying, if you see something, say something. Remember, the Army Call Center is a dial away on 193. See you next week.